I've been making. God mode is on. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, we got some drama going on. Careful. Can't forget about nobody. Bone structure almost complete. Ooh, let's see what we can build on next. Yeah, I did. Oh, what? Never. Never. Oh, what do we have here? Look at this little piece of gold. What? I already know what I'm finna have crawling out of here. Yes. What? Okay. Let's see where we're going. Let's see where we're going. Looks like good times over here. That's where we're moving into. What is that? Go back. Yes. Oh, this shouldn't be beautiful. I know what I'm making. Let's get back to what we have at hand. That is a pretty strip. I'll mark this one. It's pretty. This is pretty. Okay, I understand. Understand the mission. Color. Doing this basis over here. Yep, it's nice. It's gonna be pretty. All the way. Don't look like much snow gets over here either. this area. I like the snow. Nice. That's clean. That is clean. Mm-hmm. She got you an appointment. I thought you good. Yeah, that's clean. Yeah, man. I don't care. I'm used to it. I control the spasms. We're cool for right now. I'm gonna expand on it later. It's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Visit my turtles. Yeah, babies. Nice. Decent. It's leaking. Gotta call the plumber for that. Oh shit, Enderman. Them crazy dance. I ain't sleep under there. Show me ocean access anywhere. Stuck. Not bad. Ooh. Taco, get from under the covers doing that, bro. Taco, get from under my covers. Get on the floor. Dingy little dog. Let's go. You just got floating land here you can build. Go. Overloaded. Most I can say, like something, don't care what you do it. Just sure don't hurt nobody. Bringing somebody happiness is the best thing to me. It just makes me happy. Making art any way possible. Early in the morning. Let's get this going. Should have been at work, but I'm off. Bone structure is nice. I want that concaved as well as this. Yeah, this should be nice. Also follow my TikTok, Children of the Grind, at Children of the Grind. Sad. It's like lucky, satisfying. Something soothing. bioluminescence. Like you don't like dark places. This is not really trying to do much. You got a spot. In the cloud, it's cloudy. That's hard. Mm. Not shady like that. Taco. I leave the room if you don't gross me out, bro. I've been getting ready. You know me. Up the cab up. Tell her flat out. I'm just trying to tell her the truth, bro. I think these hoes tripping. Good. Good. Taco, you gotta get your itchy ass down, bro. I'm not doing the scratching stuff. I'm sorry, you're going to the hospital. She ain't scratching. I'm gonna give you one chance. Sit there. I know it, you going, but damn, bro. Like, fuck. I'm sorry. Fuck off the bed with that shit. Like on my podcast. Let me turn this on the TV. Listen to this, and you just sitting up here scratchity. No, come on to that. I'm gonna get you take care of. Come on the bed. Look at this scratchity. Very funny. Ooh, that's finna look good. Watch when I replace it. I think I'm replacing it right here. Cheer, cheer. Level up, rookie. Hello? How you doing, sir? Hey, can I ask you one favor, James? Could you take me off your call list? Because they call me at 6 o'clock in the morning all the way till 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night. Hello? James? James? Uh, hello? This is cyber warfare. Y'all fucking with my mental state of mind. Like, stop calling me. Please. I beg of you. What do you want? My child? My life? I am free. Give a fuck. I'm fair enough. Yeah. That way he really can't get mad and act like I'm fucking was trying to holler at her. That's what I'm doing. Like, what the fuck? And still no wallet. That's what you should say, bro. You wasn't trying to holler at her. She was just sitting there playing Minecraft. Yeah. All right. I'll hit you up in a little bit. All right, bro. Yeah, I was gonna put this in there. I need these earphones no more. Taco, get away from me. See? going nowhere. I ain't going no. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going no. Looking at the sky looking dope. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going no.
How? RDC World 1. Anyone's favorite group of writers, directors, actors, streamers, and comedians. With 6.7 million subs, it's safe to say that they've reached stable status on YouTube through their absolute plethora of skits, and more recently, their streams and the advent of DreamCon. I personally have been watching RDC for 10 years, watching their skill, and some would say more importantly, their budgets, go up and up over time. It's been nothing but an exhilarating and heartwarming experience. But I am a geek, a nerd. To be content with a heartwarming experience is far beyond my capacity. So I needed to know how powerful Mark Phillips would be if we took all of his versions and showings into account. Shortly thereafter, I realized that I couldn't accomplish this feat without doing the same for Leland. And then it became Desmond, and then it became Dylan, and 2.5 months later, here I am power scaling all of RDC. Of course, there will be some stipulations here. In Video Game House, Black Avengers, and Anime House, RDC play a multitude of different characters from video games, movies, and anime, but can't be afforded all of the feats that we see in those mediums. These characters consistently refer to those shows, games, and movies as separate from their true lives. While
Mark got beat up at school today, so I brought my brother who's in college, but he got beat up too nice. That nigga put me to work like a family tree, bro.
The Boys is perhaps one of the most popular comic book pieces of media right now. The show started off as a superhero parody of stuff like
Let me get this in there.
MCU with a political spin on it. You have stand-ins for Superman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, and a whole bunch of iconic comic book characters. And oftentimes, the general consensus is that the original characters that are being parodied would beat their boys' counterparts. And yeah, that's pretty true for the most part. I don't think anyone needs me to explain why Superman would beat Homelander. But if there was one character from the show that I think actually has a chance against the character they're parodying, it would be Soldier Boy, the show's obvious stand-in for Captain America. He's a guy from out of his time who was experimenting with Compound V, and he was used as a poster child of propaganda for the Americans during World War II. He has a pretty decent run, and due to factors out of his control, he finds himself in current day. That's just straight up Captain America's origin right there. The Boys is pretty realistic and showcasing the power of the suits in general. So I think that talking about someone like MCU Captain America versus Soldier Boy isn't a matchup that you look at and automatically roll your eyes at. I think there's actually a conversation to be had. And it seems that a lot of you guys agreed with me. I see this matchup all the time on TikTok, and hey, neither of these characters are particularly hard to scale. So let me analyze both characters' feats of strength, speed, and durability to see which one of these soldiers at a time is truly superior. But first, let me set some ground rules. Obviously, I'm not going to be talking about Captain America with the hammer. I think that's overkill. I don't think anyone needs me to tell you that Captain America with a weapon from Thor, the god of thunder, would kill Soldier Boy very easily. So yeah, that's not really going to be something I talk about. I'm going to be using Season 3 Soldier Boy, and I'm going to be using current base Cap. So I don't want to hear any comic book feeds for Captain America or Soldier Boy. I'm not talking about those iterations. So without wasting any more of you guys' time, let's get right into the breakdown. Alright, so let's start with Captain America himself. Steve, as previously mentioned, was juiced up with the Super Soldier Serum, which granted Cap increased strength, durability, and stamina, enhancing his body to peak conditions and just being the peak human specimen in terms of MCU anyways. So I don't want to hear you guys say that he's Street Plus or like Mike Tyson level or anything like that. As Cap has some crazy stuff that no IRL peak man could ever hope to replicate. Steve utilized his abilities that helped the Allies throughout the Second World War, completing many missions and defeating even more Nazis. But after a nap in the ice, Cap is thrown out into modern day where he subsequently becomes an Avenger, dealing with threats too big for one hero in order to save the world. And during this era is where we will draw a huge chunk of the scaling. As a baseline, he has a feat where he was able to toss Ultron in very very notably ramming through a chunk of concrete. Due to the portion of the pillar that was kind of eviscerated in this throw, you can calculate that Captain America can throw at forces equivalent to 0.01306 tons of TNT, which is around small building level. And keep in mind, for his casual tossing, due to Captain America being considered a peak human specimen, he should upscale feats of durability performed by Peter Quill, where in this particular instance, he was able to endure an explosion in the building ranges of power. Cap should also scale the durability feats performed by Shuri, as she has a building plus level feat of durability right here. This Black Panther scaling is consistent, as Cap can play on par with T'Challa during the events of Civil War, as he was able to again.
Taco, man, you got a whole nother thing coming if you think I'm gonna let you do this, bro.
Shown to endure each other's blows. Cap can also damage and fight on par with Loki, and while yes, he showed him most weaker than the God of Mischief, he was still able to hurt him and fight him for a decent amount of time. This is very telling, as Loki can endure the destruction of the Bifrost point blank. Due to Loki's overall proximity to the explosion, it's been determined that he can no-sell city block levels of destruction, and yeah, Cap kind of scales somewhat. You might think the previously mentioned scaling chains are a bit odd, but I personally don't have that much issue with them due to Cap's showings against Iron Man during the events of Civil War, as the Prior was able to fight with Iron Man and overwhelm him, chipping away at his suit and even damaging him overall, with his AI companion even confirming at one point that Iron Man couldn't beat Cap hand-to-hand without analyzing his fight patterns. This is very telling because Iron Man's armor from a prior film was able to no-sell a portion of the destruction of Sokovia. The full blast is around mountain level if I recall, but Tony only scales the portion that he endured, but that's fine because it's been determined that he was able to no-sell roughly 3 kilotons of TNT, which is small town level, a level of power that Cap, due to his showings of Civil War, then be scaled to. As for his durability now, Cap's punches from Quicksilver that come out to around building level, and due to his showing from Avengers Endgame, we can determine that he can endure his own AP as he really fought himself. And since we're talking about his durability, this is the perfect time to note that his shield can endure and reflect attacks that far outweigh his base AP or durability. Moving on to his speed now, Cap scaled the Iron Man who can react while traveling at the speeds of his suits, which have counts that put them in the massively hypersonic ranges with the same suit that he fights in Civil War. However, a calculation that puts his travel speed at around Mach 260, which is a figure that's based on his showing of flying from the raft to Siberia in the time that he does. But for higher ends, Cap would arguably find himself in the relativistic ranges, as Cap should scale to and has reacted to Iron Man's repulsors, which are confirmed to be beams of light. Seeing as how this matchup is likely going to be a hand-to-hand affair, I might as well talk about Cap's skill. Steve Rogers is confirmed to be proficient in numerous forms of martial arts. He's shown on screen the box in his free time, and he's also able to spar with Black Widow, who's consistently stated to be an expert in every fighting style, with even some scans saying that she's the most skilled fighter in the world. Cap, due to his role during World War II, has little experience in the fields of war, and he can utilize his skill to play with characters who are known to be stronger than him, such as Loki and Iron Man. And as previously mentioned, he can fight with characters just as good as him. Heck, he even caught Thanos lacking one time. So overall, I can confidently say that Captain America would find himself in the small buildings, even small town levels of attack bonusing. He would have speed ranging from around massive hypersonic to relativistic plus, and G with such battle prowess and base stats, it's no wonder that Cap lives up to his title as the first Avenger. Moving on to Soldier Boy now, and unlike Captain America, the hero of heroes himself is actually a high-tier reverse. So while for the MCU, we're kind of just scrabbling along feats of the mid-tiers and kind of generously gauging and attack bonus he made for Cap, we don't really have to do that for Soldier Boy because he's like the second strongest in the entire verse, so all the feats he just kind of upscales. Because as Homelander puts it, Soldier Boy was the only one who was nearly as strong as him. So let's start simple. Soldier Boy is much stronger than Black Noir, as Soldier Boy was shown to pretty easily beat him to a pulp on multiple occasions, with Black Noir suffering brain damage as well as PTSD from his last encounter with Soldier Boy. This is impressive, as Black Noir is someone who can no-sell small building level explosions, as well as seemingly casually kill the super suit can generate them. And Soldier Boy made the Prior run in fear at the simple prospect of his return. For a closer gauge to his actual power though, he should upscale a teenage young adult Homelander's showcase of durability, as yes, in the canon episode of The Boys Diabolical that features Homelander, he's more than likely a teenager or a young adult. As revealed to us in this very season, Homelander was essentially a lab rat until the age of 16, if we're going to go off the height measurement charts and when they just stopped listing him. We can assume that after he was done with all the labbing stuff, they kind of just pushed him out there, where we subsequently see him in the short. Keep in mind, the current Homelander who Soldier Boy scales to is over 40 years old, And seeing as how even during the time between season 1 and 2, Homelander's implied to have gotten so much stronger, it's safe to say that the showcases of durability shown in this short aren't really indicative of a current Homelander's capabilities. So they kind of just find themselves being a nice benchmark or, bare minimum estimate for the high tiers in the verse, such as Soldier Boy. But anyways, during said short, Homelander was shown to no-saw factory level explosion that comes out to around multi-city block level at the lowest. With higher end calculations, it's certain that the yield of the blast actually gets somewhat into the kilotons. Or in simpler terms, generate enough energy relative to what would be required to destroy a small town. This range of durability is consistent for Soldier Boy, as he was able to endure his AoE attack point blank. And yeah, Soldier Boy is shown to be out of commission after using this blast, but I think it can be easily asserted that utilizing the attack seems to have incapacitated him rather than the attack actually hurting him. As we see that multiple times, that after using this attack, Soldier Boy finds himself kind of woozy or even blacks out in some instances. There's also the fact that there isn't a scratch on Soldier Boy at all. And when calculated, it's been asserted that Soldier Boy can endure forces of around city block level, which is consistent. Soldier Boy should also upscale a character named Nubia, who can casually create thunderstorms. And yes, this episode is confirmed to be canon to the mainline show. So yeah, storm generation typically requires talent, even large town levels worth of energy, which Soldier Boy just kind of upscales. This range of power is consistent because with Billy Butcher, a character who spent the better part of a decade analyzing soups in order to kill them, so it's fair to say that his statements are indicative of their physical capabilities. When approached by the prospect that a weapon could have been the cause of Soldier Boy's death, he states that it must have been something like a hydrogen bomb. Keep in mind how he said an H bomb in particular, because these bombs are actually stronger than regular atomic bombs. The typical hydrogen bomb nowadays kind of range from 100 kilotons to even 1 megaton, which is around large town to sea level at best. But seeing as how we're talking about an event from 1983, Butcher's statement about an H bomb from that time period being needed to possibly kill Soldier Boy would mean that weapons like the SAR bomb could potentially be on the table, which would be a sentiment consistent with the modern day statements of Homelander being able to endure every weapon on Earth, and Soldier Boy is nearly as strong as Homelander and can even fight on par with him. Overall, granted Soldier Boy anywhere from multi-city block to even city level ends at best, with large town being a pretty viable mid-ball in my opinion. As for speed now, he certainly scales to Homelander as they can fight on par with each other and such. This would grant him some easy hypersonic scaling, as Homelander has multiple feats in his range of speed, as Homelander has a feat where he was able to blitz an explosion and save Butcher before it could reach him, despite Billy being in extremely close proximity to the blast, which is a feat that gets calculated anywhere from Mach 10 to around Mach 18, but you can get him faster as Homelander has alluded to the fact that he's been in space before, which would mean that he can reach terminal escape velocity, which is around Mach 33 or around hypersonic plus, if I remember correctly. But for higher end scaling, such as Cap, Ben has consistently reacted to lasers or light-based attacks. These constructs are often referred to as lights or lasers in the show as well as in promotional material, with even the official Amazon audio commentary calling these constructs as such. A common rebuttal I've seen to this end of speed being consistent for these projectiles comes from A-Train's showing of blitzing these weapons midair. They like to point out that A-Train's max speed is around supersonic, and they kind of just use that in an attempt to downplay the speed of these constructs. But they fail to realize that A-Train during this scene right here was super amped by Compound V, and he had even developed an addiction to the substance. So A-Train was very likely the fastest he's ever been during this instance right here, and he even suffers a heart attack after the fact. So this isn't an example of A-Train's normal speed or even his regular amp speed, because he literally had a heart attack after the fact. Like, come on. So using this instance wouldn't be enough to assure that these projectiles aren't fired at the speed of light. So with all that out the way, Soldier Boy can react to them, move his shield to block them before they can reach him. So you can't put him aim dodging either, as he would need relative speed to these constructs to block them after they were already fired. As for his skill now, Soldier Boy isn't nearly as skilled as Captain America. Like, he doesn't have any training with the world's greatest fighters or anything that I can find, but one can assert that he's quite skilled, as after all, he is a World War II veteran after all. And yeah, he was on the front lines as he said, he was still an active participant during the conflict. I think one could easily assert that he has some type of hand-to-hand training, as just by visually looking at him, he seems to know what he's doing. He's not like throwing his power around like Homelander, for example. But going back to Homelander, Soldier Boy was pretty consistently able to outskill him. And it was a pretty big reason as to why he lasted as long with Homelander as he did. So with the stats of both of these super soldiers out of the way, who would win? And to be honest with you guys, I got Soldier Boy winning more times than not, as he's just much stronger. If you remember Cap's ends, they were kind of like grasping at instances where he kind of contended with people who are pretty visually much stronger than him to kind of get him to the same range of power that Soulja Boy kind of just scales above or just scales to. We got captured around City Block off of his showing of kind of denting Loki a little bit, right? While Soulja Boy is actually just enduring that force point blank. There's also the fact that in terms of viable high ends, Soulja Boy's stuff is a lot higher and more consistent. Like at best, Captain America should upscale Iron Man's durability showcase from Sokovia, which comes out to around Small Town. But you have random no-name soups in the verse having town to even large town level feats. And then you have Homelander saying that Soulja Boy is the only one that's nearly as strong as him, implying that these two guys right here are considerably above even like large town or town level feats. Whereas for Cap, that's just the best that he's got. Don't get me wrong, Captain America is certainly more skilled than Soulja Boy. That's, pretty quantifiable, actually, unironically. But it's not going to matter due to the sheer gap in strength. Both of them are relative in terms of speed, so I can't say that Cap is going to speed blitz or Soulja Boy is going to speed blitz for that matter. I don't really see any ways that Captain America, with what he has on deck, is going to win this fight. Now, you got Billy Butcher saying that he thinks that only a freaking H-bomb can take him out, and Cap's blows, as strong as he is, he don't got none on H-bomb. So I don't see any real win cons that he has. Captain America has some weird outliers, though, that I want to implore people to stop using. Consistently, he's like a mid-tier in the verse. And I remember people were pointing out an instance from Endgame where Captain America was able to stagger Thanos a little bit, right? To kind of assert that Cap can, punch harder than, like, nuclear bombs or enough to kill Homelander or even Soulja Boy. I think pointing out this one instance is pretty, disingenuous, as it's literally one instance. He has no other showcase against characters of this magnitude of power. And that's not even mentioning the fact that the blow didn't even hurt Thanos or anything like that. He immediately focused on Cap and kind of just ragdolled him from there. So I don't know if I'd say that's relativity right there. So overall, I think Soulja Boy is consistently just out of Cap's pay grade. He would need something like Thor's hammer in order to do it. And yeah, I didn't really talk about Soulja Boy's mini-nuclear AoE attack, but it doesn't really mean anything, as it just takes too dang long to use, right? Nobody's going to stand in place and wait for that to hit them. There's also the fact that Captain America's shield could probably unironically block it. So it's not really viable or even worth mentioning, to be honest, especially when Soulja Boy could just beat him to death. But once again, I want to mention that I was talking about MCU Captain America, so I don't want to see any comic book, video game, animated feats in the comment section because I didn't cover that cap. So overall, if the first Avenger and Soulja Boy ever got into a fight, I think it's safe to say that more times than not, the hero of heroes comes out on top. As today's winner is Soulja Boy. So yeah, guys, that's about it. Was this matchup about what you expected, or do you disagree? If so, be sure to leave your reasoning down in the comments. I love to read everything down there, and if you want to start a conversation, that's the best way to do it. But while you're down there, drop the comment of the week as well, being payback. Dropping the comment doesn't only let me know that you're a real one for sticking to this point in the video, it also tells me that you liked it as well, and I'll make more videos like this. But as always, I'll see you guys next week. But until then, stay VG fans.
Burning my time. Okay. Ball and chain tail. we go. Victory lap. Nice portion down. fucked up, bro. That's a lot better. What's this? What? For a flyby. Working on the dragon.
superheroes.
Ever since the mid 2000s, superheroes have been in for multiple billion-dollar franchise across different studios, numerous animated endeavors, and some truly groundbreaking games. It's safe to say that they haven't only took over, but they're here to stay. With their mark on popular culture being so prevalent, some people have even equated them to the Greek gods of the modern era. A very interesting concept indeed, but it seems that the Seven from the Boys television show has taken on this concept and really ran with it. And for the past 4 seasons, provided a truly unique story that portrays a different side of the implications of superheroes. I was looking for a different show. It's the first piece of media to be a subversion of the meaning of superheroes. With even Invincible doing pretty much the same thing. Not nearly as good, I might add. Ooh, that's gonna get me some heat. That's good. Wait, don't leave. But as I was saying, there's another piece of media that I think falls into this category of superhero stuff. And these came out arguably even before the really big boom of the modern era, as Pixar dropped a little-known film called The Incredibles. Truly a masterpiece of a motion picture, and in my opinion, a more realistic take on how superhumans would actually be treated in today's society. While we can sit around and compare these franchises all day, you all know that's not why you're here. As that's right, today we are going to put Pixar's first family of suits against Black Noir, Stormfront, Queen Maeve, and even the monstrous Homelander to see which of these superpowered teams ultimately come on top. Seeing as how both of these groups are more grounded in how they showcase power, well, as grounded as the name can be anyways, Mr. Incredible is still using trains for light cardio, and Homelander is still out here breaking the sound barrier casually. Nonetheless, though, I think the narrative parallels, as well as the more street-oriented type of feats these guys have, kind of provides for an interesting discussion. I'll be taking the main members of the Incredibles, as well as Frozone to kind of hopefully equal the odds in terms of numbers. And the group of the seven will be the season 2 variant of the team, with all the characters being at their peak edition. So, for example, A-Train can run. You know, he's not going to be in crutches or anything like that. And you'll also have some former heavy hitters back on the team, such as Stormfront and Queen Maeve. New Seven is kind of dookie in terms of power. Sister Sage, as dangerous as she can be, really isn't that all good in terms of a fight, you know? And then you got Firecracker, who's Firecracker. So I think using this lineup of the seven while having them at peak condition is a more interesting conversation. So the criteria and situation set, without wasting any more of you guys' valuable time, let's dive right into today's matchup. Starting off, we have the seven. We have quite the amount of members to go over, so let's just get right into it. The best way to work our way up is to establish the weakest. So we have a benchmark for all of our characters upscale to varying degrees. And the weakest character on the seven is officially Starlight. Yeah, she's actually weaker than the Deep now, the literal joke character of the show. But yeah, it makes sense. If one of the members of the seven were to be a regular member of the boys, it would make sense that it would be weakest. As I imagine, even having a mid-tier seven member would just kind of be an instant win button for most of the scenarios that they find themselves in. But anyway, Starlight has the power to generate beams of light, which she typically uses as projectiles, and as a suit, she has enhanced strength. So she's not like a street level character or anything like that. She's physically able to hurt other supes and even send some of the weaker ones flying in some instances. She's shown the ability to punch through walls, send things flying off the hinges, and stuff like that pretty much. But for actual quantifiable stuff, as a baseline, Starlight kind of made Black Noir fly a little back. And yeah, Black Noir didn't really take any actual damage from the fact, but this is still pretty impressive as Black Noir is a character who can take a small building level explosion right to his face and not even flinch. So believe it or not, Starlight actually being able to send them flying in this little instance right here would actually go a decent way of giving her some small building level AP, which is a notion that's consistent with her durability, as she can dare being thrown through multiple walls of concrete and even survive beating
Chinese food on Wisdom.
shoots, justifying her small building level scaling. And from there, in terms of physicals, the Deep and
Here are the
H-Train
listings for Chinese food.
because as of the most recent episode, the Deep was able to get the better of Annie after a prolonged encounter. H-Train finds himself in the same tier as the Deep, with H-Train only really being able to no diff the Deep with his speed, but we know in terms of sheer physicals, they are relative, due to their scuffle in Season 3. Upscaling off of both of those characters, we have Black Noir. As a feat, he's just simply the best. For starters, he easily has the best performance against Starlight, with him low diffing her, compared to Deep, who yes, was able to come up on top, but the affair wasn't nearly as one-sided as it was portrayed against Noir. Like, Starlight got one hit off, and it did no real substantial damage. In terms of stats now, in the canon episode of The Boys Diabolical, yeah, I'm going to talk about the chemical factory explosion again. Usually we only talk about the unit in regards to Homelander's durability, but something that I have failed to mention the multiple times I brought it up was that Black Noir was actually in this explosion too. Unfortunately, he wasn't at the epicenter of the explosion like Homelander was, so we didn't really scale to the multi-city block to small town calculation we have. But we do have a pretty chill calculation, and it's been determined that due to his distance and overall proximity to the blast, in order to survive in the way that he did, he would have had to casually endure large building levels of force. Black Noir being large building levels is pretty consistent as he ragdolls average supes such as Starlight, and he can even endure prolonged beatings with Soldier Boy and Lim. Like, be honest, do you think that A-Train or the Deep is going to survive the beating that Noir took here? I don't think so. Moving up the tier now, we'll find Stormfront, a character who kind of just scales this high due to her showings. Most of them are lightning, but yeah, she kind of just ragdolls a lot of the supes pretty consistently in the show, with her being shown to destroy chunks of an apartment complex quite easily with this. Her best showing from an inverse perspective was her showcase against Kimiko and Starlight, as she was able to get the better of both of them at once, with Queen Maeve's part of the fight being what really changed the tide in this particular fight. But before Maeve showed up, it was pretty clear that Stormfront was winning this encounter, which would get her above Noir. Because while Noir beat Starlight, Stormfront beat Starlight with help. And it actually goes pretty far considering the person in question was Kimiko, someone who's kind of shown somewhat relativity to Noir, but Noir kind of was able to kind of beat that character as well. You know. And above all of those suits, we have Queen Maeve. As previously mentioned, she's the only non-Homelander level character who was able to outright overpower Noir and Stormfront. And her most impressive feat in verse was her showing against a holding back Homelander. And yeah, he was holding back. Characters such as Noir, Stormfront, but she gets her same live power in some cases against Soldier Boy. As she was able to point blank survive Soldier Boy's final hit, though the attack left her injured and empowered. But that seems to just be the effect of the blast rather than
Sorry, we missed your call. We open at noon and we close at 6:30, Monday through Saturday. We're closed on Sundays and holidays. Thank you.
Shit. Take my bike out. Drinking, driving. Drinking and got those stuff out. Actually, that part.
realistic path, get out of here. Not do anything. It's gonna just waste of time. And just like that, the only four members of the seven that could actually have a chance of actually getting through these suits or any of the Incredibles would be Noir, Maeve, Stormfront, and Homelander. But from there, it's also the issue of speed. Look, I'm very generous to the boys verse when it comes to the speed. I think that a lot of people would say that Lance Wisdom is just outliers radically inconsistent. I kind of advocate for it because why not? But a lot of people will tell you that Homelander and the rest of his verse caps out for something. But when the Incredibles are FCL at the low end, it kind of just depends on how bad you think the game was. Because the Incredibles not only have FCL members, but they even have FCL plus and MFCL members. So while Homelander is stronger than Mr. Incredible, he's never ever going to tag him. While Mr. Incredible definitely could tag Homelander, his blows would actually hurt him. And you have another character who's on par with him in terms of strength, being Elastigirl. The Incredibles also have a lot of just instant win buttons. Since I'm including Frozone, a lot of the low tier characters just getting frozen, I'd say that through pretty much everyone on the seven that wasn't like Maeve or Homelander. So in all likelihood, the only relevant member of the seven is really just Homelander. As I see the Incredibles getting rid of everyone else pretty easily right now. At best, Homelander and Maeve help them out. But from there, the two of them would just get replaced. There's also the fact that the seven are a really bad team. They're not coordinated. They have a really decent fighting movement. Despite similarities, like they have everyone listening all the time. They fail. But the Incredibles, you have to see their team like that. They have so much strength, so much together, so much cohesion. And those members of the team are expensive to keep.
Look, keep your ass in here. You better not do shit. Fuck you. You fuck up shit. Come on, Tindo. I'm gonna try you. It's me signing off. See you later. should have got to you. Make a house in this little